Okay, so as usual with pretty much all of my videos, I always film an awful intro and end up having to refilm it after I've actually completed the video and am editing it together. But that actually sort of works out well with this video in particular because I was sort of waiting on certain things in between, which is why I started doing this work on the Hilux rather than the Patrol, which is the big burden to my time right now. But anyway, so what I ended up doing with the Patrol was I said I was going to get a set of injectors off eBay, but these aren't eBay. So I bought a set, I paid for a set of GQ injectors off eBay, which I all paid for and everything, which was all good. But then the place selling them asked me to send pictures of mine, and because mine are the ETI injectors, they weren't comfortable sending me those injectors because they were a different geometry. They didn't have the inside filters in them or something, and they just said for the price I paid, like $500 or something, they weren't comfortable sending such an expensive item because of the chance that they wouldn't fit my vehicle, which wouldn't have been fun. I said to them, like, yeah, they will fit, you know, but they said no. So what can you do? Oh, runny nose, got COVID. But anyway, so I've got this new set of injectors here. So I bought these from our local diesel shop. They were really good about them, actually. They did stuff up a little bit. I called them last week on Tuesday to ask if they had some RD28 GQ injectors. So yeah, I called them last week on Tuesday. They said, yeah, no, should be alright. Come by, we'll have them ready for you. So I went in on Friday and they hadn't actually started assembling them. But the guys did a mad rush, and the only annoying thing was they put everything together, but one of the new nozzles didn't seal up properly. It was loose and it wasn't shooting fuel out correctly, and the guy wasn't comfortable selling it to me like that, which was good. So he said, yeah mate, I'll build them on the weekend and have them freighted to you for free, and they arrived on Monday, which was sweet as. They also came with all of the new crush washers, which is awesome. So yep, brand new set of GQ injectors from, I think it's Perth Fuel Injection, so thumbs up to them, they gave me good service. And what I've also done is I've got a new set of injector lines. I've had to get the new injector lines because I've got the GQ spill rail, which doesn't have the hill in it for the tall #1 injector, because this is GQ injectors and they're all symmetrical. As well as that, you need the set of GQ injector lines because, yeah, as I said before, the ETI having that tall #1 injector means that there's a big sort of bend up in both the spill rail and the injector lines to accommodate for that. So I've got the GQ injector lines, the injectors, and the spill rail. So everything should be ready to throw on the Patrol this weekend. So it's Thursday night now. I'm going to edit this video together and throw it up. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So pretty much the backstory with this video was I had nothing else to do and I needed to quieten down this my Hilux. I had some old exhausts kicking around under the house, so I went through everything to see if I could make something up, and I ended up having a pretty good end product. So I'll show you what I did now. Okay, so I'll talk you through what we got under the car here. Oh. So got my exhaust coming through from the front. There are no previous exhaust hangers, it's all hanging off the turbo, hence why it's probably cracked a couple of times before. But as we come back here, I'm using one of the original exhaust hangers with the rubber clamps, and then the exhaust is just chained to this hanger that the flange used to bolt through. Now I've got another flange here, and it runs all the way back up under the car and dumps just before the diff. So my plan is to potentially put a resonator just here. I've got one sitting around over there, and probably cut off my exhaust tip and rotate it a tiny bit so it doesn't face to the inside, because I think it's hitting on that diff mechanism there. I think that's the mechanism that adjusts the brake percentage bias depending on how much weight's over the back. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll talk about what I've got over as far as spares. So sitting around under Mum and Dad's house, I've got the old original Hilux exhaust, which is good because it's got these hanger assemblies I can cut off and use. It's also got a resonator in it, but the thing is, I think the input for the resonator here is 2.5 inch, whereas my exhaust now is 2.75. I've also got the exhaust off a Corolla I used to have. It was like completely stock for AF. Nothing had been touched on that, and the first thing I did was cut the muffler off because teenager. So I can use that if I want to, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull that end bit of the exhaust off, look at the clamps and that, and probably just put some proper hangers on this resonator in it and change the tip around. Okay, so I've just welded a hanger tab off the dump of the exhaust. I'm going to see how it sits before I cut the end tailpipe and rotate it, because it might actually pull the exhaust over enough where it sits a bit freer from where it was, because it was contacting on the diff down there. But I'm going to dry fit this on the car, see if that's all good. And I've decided that I'm going to fit the resonator that I'm going to make up, not in the dump end of the pipe, but in the section before that goes under the cross frame. The reason for that is this section is just not long enough to fit that, and there's a long section that goes straight under the car that'll be a nice fit, so that I can just cut and slide that straight on. I may put a muffler in this section later down the track, but I want to see how this one sounds. Okay, so we're going to talk about the resonators that I've got here. I'm putting together a resonator for the Hilux. I've got the exhaust out here, and I've got two different types which I cut off the car's exhaust originally. So the two types I've got here is a perforated resonator, in which the holes are drilled straight through the pipe diameter, and a louvered resonator where the holes are bent inwards into the inside diameter of the pipe. They both have different style canisters. You call this a bullet canister, and I guess, I don't know, I think this one's meant to look like a catalytic converter, but it's not. But anyway, the reason these work is because of the sine wave form. So the sine wave, I'm sure everyone's seen a sine wave before. It's got a peak and a trough within the entire length of the sine wave like that. Now, with an open pipe like this one, I'm going to draw it like that, your harmonic frequencies will start from half of the wavelength like that. So you have a node up here and then an antinode here. So all it'll take is a node, or all it'll take is an antinode to start on a node there. So all it'll take for a harmonic is half of the wavelength to make it. And then up from there, you can have as many harmonics as you want, as long as they all either end on a common node or an antinode. So with that being said, your length of your resonator canister is going to determine the frequencies and the pitch at which the resonations are mitigated. Wow, I'm trying to use really fancy words here. But the longer your resonator canister is, the lower frequency it's going to get rid of resonations at. So that's why you see some race cars' resonators being like literally just that long, because the higher pitch at the higher RPM you're going to get to, it'll get rid of resonations at that level. Although that being said, because multiple harmonics can be got rid of by a single open pipe, you can sort of do a bit of calculation if you really wanted to and find the best common resonator size or resonator length that would suit your application. But also on that note, the different perforated and louvered style resonators do play a part. So a perforated resonator pipe has holes just drilled through the wall. So that's good because some of the sound wave energy will pass through the perforations and into the canister, where there'll probably be some sort of glass fiber packing, which will be detonated or detonated. Is that the right word? No, I'll put it on screen because I can't think of it now. And yeah, but in saying that, because the holes of the pipe are just drilled through the walls and there's no interference into the inside diameter, there is still going to be some waves which create a perfect harmonic through this length here. So these do work. However, a louvered resonator is much quieter because the louvers interfere into the diameter of the pipe. It makes it much harder for frequencies and wavelengths to create perfect harmonics within the pipe, because they're interfered with in the walls of the pipe being different thicknesses and different diameters, because your resonation is all determined by the diameter of the pipe and the wavelength in it. So I hope that gives a bit of an idea. So the way I'm going to do it, I've cut off the resonator. The original pipe for the Hilux I think is 2" so 2.2 inch. So I've cut off the resonator and I've ovaled out the holes a bit, so that I'm gonna cut off the end of my exhaust here and I'm gonna slide this on. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a perforated style resonator. I'm gonna put a series of nicks with my angle grinder into it, and I'm just gonna bend them in slightly, making sure that I face the open end of the louver down or upstream to the end of the turbo, so that the sound waves will come in and get eaten up by the resonator and the glass fiber packing. Just be careful around that stuff, it's bad to breathe in. Okay, so I've put some perforations in the muffler here, sorry, some louvers. I just cut them with the angle grinder and then just painted them in. So now I'm gonna pick all of the stuff that's gone into the glass fiber wrap out. Slid the resonator on. Now I'm going to weld around the edges with my TIG welder. Hopefully I can get a good bead formed. I cut out this end a bit big, so I might have to put some little bits of metal on there so that I can get it to adhere properly. But apart from that, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so I've welded the resonator in. I'm just going to let it cool down a bit. Fingers crossed I've welded that that brace in the right spot. But apart from that, it all looks pretty sweet. I might give this a coat of black paint to make it look like it's all sweet, and so it hides my pretty bad MIG welds. But yeah, the exhaust's ready to go back on, so we'll throw it on, see if it's changed the sound at all.